People at like in a movie, they're in the background and they look like they're having a conversation. A lot of times that's what they're mouthing, because it looks like their mouths have to move. And
Hello,
there's
Lacey.
Lacey.
Hi,
Hello,
Lacey.
Lacey.
Hello, Ezra.
There's the
Can you
bunny.
hear us now? Yeah, and can't.
Is it all good?
Yeah.
It's all good.
Oh, Lordy.
There will be some interruptions, of course.
Oh, of course.
As it should be. So are we rolling, sir?
Yeah.
We
Oh,
are
okay.
rolling. That's good to know. And the reason we're kind of here, first off, look, today is August the 1st, 2021. We're setting kind of a tone for this because, of course, it's incredible historic value that we want to make sure that it's recorded for posterity. And we are gathered here because Mike here had a nice, lovely party for his daughter Marissa in celebration of their wedding. And it was a great time, but it was also a time that we could, as a group, all get together. So we're thrilled to be together, as we always are when we have that opportunity. And one of the things that everybody wanted to do was maybe talk a little bit about what it was like for us growing up, specifically in Crafton, and we had two homes that we really grew up in. One was 1715 Crafton Boulevard, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. And then 1337 Dickens Street, which is where everybody spent the majority of their formative years. But I kind of kicked it off a little bit regarding 1715 because it's germane to how things got to where they got, and some of the things that we did there. First and foremost, the house itself was a three stories with a basement of sorts on a hill, yes, on a terraced hill.
Yes.
That today it still exists there if you can find it because it's so overgrown. Yeah, weeds, trees, and when we were there, if you stood on the street below and looked up to the house, there was a long flight of concrete stairs that went up the hillside.
Yep.
And in the middle of the property there was a hedgerow, two deep hedgerow. And early on in the front, in the lower section, there were two large trees.
Yes.
Yeah, and we're down there. But that was a hill that we would somewhat sled ride down and do other dastardly
Yeah,
things.
you sort of had to be a little careful when going through the hedgerow, because if you hit it incorrectly, the branches of the hedges came right up through the middle of the sled.
And it hurt.
And that didn't feel too good.
It hurt. Or the hedges would be used as a way to stop
They were a way to
yourself.
stop yourself as well, because if you went through, next stop was Crafton Boulevard.
But see, we also circumvented that those hedges, because between the stairs and the hedges there was a gap.
Yes.
And in the heavier snows, the gap was fair game.
Yep.
And so we had one sled.
Yeah.
It was a hand-me-down sled, with runners and such.
The old style sled.
Right, an old school sled that you
Three slats, two
Yeah,
runners. You
and a
sort of
little
try to steer it with your feet or
which
hands.
never really worked, especially on that hill.
No.
It wasn't bad if we went to an actual snow sled riding hill like McMunn Street, which was just a couple of rows over. Our dad would take us down there, and we would ride down the hill, and then he'd tow the thing back up. And we thought this was great fun, but we basically made a couple of our own version of a slip and slide with the back of a kitchen chair. You remember?
Curve.
There was a curved back of a
Yeah.
kitchen chair that was vinyl, and we just discovered that this sucker really would fly. So we would go down the hill between the steps and the hedges, and groove a path down there, which then would deposit you out onto the street with the traffic and the trucks and buses and
Yeah,
whatever
streetcars.
else, wherever else was out there. So somebody
Well,
usually,
We had a
somebody,
spotter. Yeah.
well, somebody usually stood guard and
Yeah, we
say
had a
it's
spotter.
clear, spotter. But yeah, that was good. There was a time too. You guys probably remember where the upper portion of the yard kind of froze and became ice, and we would slide down it like standing, like
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
surfing our way down on soft shoes.
Well, carry that over to 10 years down the road, and we did that at Dickens Street.
Yes,
as
we
well,
did.
and
We did.
various other places.
But back in the woods and such. Yes.
Oh, it's in the woods.
Yeah.
I made myself a run from way up on what was it, Lessing? Not Lessing, Crucible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From in the projects,
Yes.
all the way down around the corner,
Oh, good man. Good man.
all the way down.
Yes.
Ruined a pair of Sunday shoes.
Yeah. 'Cause, your Sunday shoes were the ones
We're
with
ideal because of the leather
flat-
bottom,
the
the
leather
flat,
soles.
smooth bottom.
Yeah,
Want me to give you a container?
So it wasn't anything like where we had formal anything.
Oh, no.
So now the house. Getting back to kind of the house. The house was just 3 stories. The first two, the first floor and the second floor were kind of living areas. The third floor was, it didn't have a bathroom or anything up there. It was storage. It was big. It was an attic, a true attic.
Yeah.
There was a storeroom and a little storage room in there in the one room, but there were 2 fairly large sized rooms. There was windows and everything. You could look
Yeah.
out.
The front one was grandpa's.
Yeah,
Back
well,
one was ours.
because we shared the house. We shared that house with our grandparents and Aunt Helen.
Jake does.
Our family occupied the first floor. There were 3 main rooms. There was a main room that you come into off of the front porch.
Yeah.
This is a
Would be
porch.
called a foyer, but it was probably about 10 by 12.
Yeah, it was pretty big. I mean,
Yeah.
it was decent size. It had a closet in it, and there was a large archway and a large opening into the main other room, which had a
Should have been
fire.
the living room.
Had a fireplace that was not a kind of a wood burning fireplace. You might
It
not
was
remember.
it was a gas.
It was gas, and it had the
ceramic.
Had the ceramic
yeah,
things.
that would go up. And then there was a hallway that went to the back, and if you were going down the hallway, on the right side was another room, big room, and the bathroom was off of that, and there was a closet off there too.
Yeah.
If you went to the left, it was an eat-in kitchen.
Big
Yeah.
kitchen, as I recall.
And then in the main, there was a door there beside it that went to another small hallway. That if you went down the little stairs, there was the entryway to the side door of the house, which was where our grandparents used.
Yeah.
They came in up there and came up the steps, and then there was the entry to their second floor. So it went up the stairs and a landing that had a stained glass window,
Yeah.
and
It was
then it curved.
pretty wood.
It was all nice wood.
all
Really
nice.
good, beautiful
I
wood.
don't know if it was
Dark-
mahogany, what
dark
it was.
wood.
It was
Did Aunt
really
Helen
nice
live
wood.
there too?
Yes,
Yes.
Helen lived there. There were on the second floor. There was a landing area, an open area. There's a small closet straight ahead, I would call it.
Yeah.
As you were facing that closet, to your left, there was a room that was their living room. To the right, on a catty corner, was an entrance to one of the front rooms of the house that overlooked,
The boulevard.
Boulevard. Yeah, and that was their bedroom.
Grandpa.
Right,
Grandpa.
and then Helen's room was painted blue, was further to
It was
the
on
right.
right.
And then there was a bathroom, and then there was what became they used it as a dining room, and a very small kitchen.
Kitchen was off that.
And off that was a back porch, little back porch that they had rocking chairs on.
With stairs down.
There were stairs out,
Stairs,
external
wooden
stairs,
down.
and they're important because they came into play when we played baseball around the house.
Yes.
Inside the house?
No, they're
Outside.
Outside the house.
Oh, okay.
Wooden stairs outside.
So there was wooden stairs outside. It was just all of the supports to support the stairs and the landing.
Yeah.
So they were there.
No, I was going to say, it should be said that there were 4 boys and a girl. okay, and
Oh, yeah.
mom and dad. So as we described, the first floor room, right in off the front door, another big room in the back, so that would have been foyer, living room, dining room.
Normally.
Normally, for us it was mom and dad's room, right off the front door. You walked in the front door to their bedroom. The other room was 5 beds, a set of bunk beds, 2 metal frame twin beds,
And a crib.
and a crib.
And then,
Now,
yeah.
of course, that was also sort of our playroom. There was many a time when we would climb the bunk beds
Oh, yeah.
and jump onto the metal frame beds.
Oh, yeah. Superman.
Yeah.
Diving out.
Dive,
The problem
land.
was that those metal frame beds, they had a metal headboard. They also had a metal footboard.
Yes.
The footboard was just high enough that if you didn't clear the footboard, your ankles got whacked for that thing when you were doing this little flying leap.
Jump
Those
off.
the same beds that we took to Dickens?
Oh, yeah.
Were-
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember those.
Yes.
You know, so
So, and then the what should have been the dining room was our living room. So there was
Yeah.
sofa and things in there.
now, you know, this arrangement changed depending
Over the
upon,
years, you know.
you know, how old. Going way back to my time, that what was our bedroom was a living room.
At one point,
At
yes,
one point, it was a living room, and we had TV in there and stuff like that. And the entry area was something else, and their bedroom was in the back. And we used the kitchen. You know, it was just an eat-in kitchen. And throughout other times, you know, we would, you know, dine in there. It had different configurations depending on the situation, but. One bathroom, for us. And the big thing about the way the house was laid out and the way we lived there was we occupied that first floor, and you did not go upstairs. You never went upstairs unless you
Without
asked permission. You would
invited.
or invited.
Or invited.
You would go out in the hall, and you'd go to the door where it went upstairs, and Grandma, can we come up?
Can we
Can I
come
come up? Always ask permission.
Unless, of course, we were doing the duty of dusting the wood.
Yeah.
In which case we would go up, dust the wood, but we still didn't go into their area.
Yeah,
That was
very
their
off
realm.
limits.
Yeah.
Off limits, but yeah. So we made the best of the situation for sure, because it was crowded by today's standards. Very crowded, wouldn't you say? And
But we
definitely.
made do. We were
Um,
creative.
In the basement was unfinished on every way possible. It didn't have metal support beams. They were all wooden
Wooden columns.
columns.
Wooden-
Like
you know.
wooden-
6x6s.
And
With some
some was a
branch
tree
pieces
trunk.
sticking out on occasion. Tree
Yeah.
trunk type.
Yeah, a couple of them were circular round
Tree
tree
trunks.
trunks that were there.
And then
Um,
there was a wooden beam
Yeah, wooden
across
beams.
the top.
Big furnace down there. Later on,
was
they
a-
put a second
It was
furnace
a
in.
massive furnace. It was
Yeah.
a great big
Yeah,
thing.
big scary
It-
thing.
It was
But
pretty
it
ugly.
had
Made some
it
rackets
had a
up
water
there.
line to it, if you remember.
Yeah, it did. Because I think at one time might have fed like a boiler.
May have been a
sometime.
boiler. Yeah.
There wasn't a boiler there. There was a laundry room.
Yes.
Yeah.
As you came down the steps, there was a laundry room to the left, and they had wringer washers. A big wringer washer, and our mom would be down there feeding the wringer washer.
Yeah.
And in the winter time, she hung the clothes on. We'd have strung clotheslines in the basement, and that's where the clothes dried. Because we didn't have a dryer,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And in the summertime,
washer.
there were posts out in the yard that you'd string your clothesline on, and
Then you had wooden supports that held up the
Oh,
clothesline.
yeah,
I remember
little
those.
wooden,
That
yeah,
had a
little-
V at the top.
to keep clothesline
And
from
it was
sagging.
the close clip, not the
Pin.
spring clips, but
Yeah,
it was
actual-
a piece of wood that had a slit in it that you slid down over the clothesline.
But all the
over
clothes would go out there, so they'd wash the clothes, haul them upstairs, take them to the backyard, and hang them
Hang them
up.
up.
But to this day, nothing smells better than some sheets that have been air dried.
Air dried like
If you
that.
could find air dried sheets anywhere, it's like heaven. It's wonderful. And that was sort of the deal.
Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there like a second room in the basement?
There was a
Like
little
you
bitty
don't-
room. Well, first there was a toilet.
Yeah.
Remember the toilet
Yes,
room?
there was a little
Stairs.
toilet
I
room
don't remember
under the
the
stairs.
toilet.
It was beside, yeah.
The laundry
It
room.
was-
Right?
but there was between the steps and the laundry room was this little water closet. It was just a toilet, nothing more than a toilet. There was no washing of hands or anything like that. It was just a commode in there. And the big deal was you had to periodically put a bucket of water down there because it would just dry out, you know.
Yeah.
But nobody ever went in there because there were spiders in there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you didn't want to go with spiders.
Well,
And there was
but-
also, you could get underneath the stairs too, and there were spiders under there.
Yeah, and there was a
The
chute,
basement was a scary
laundry
place.
chute.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Laundry
laundry
chute
chute from the
second
second
floor.
floor all the way down.
Yeah.
And we used to
Throw
I don't
shit
think-
down
You
there.
drop stuff down there, yeah.
Army men.
That
Army man.
But there was also like a basket on wheels.
Underneath
Yes,
it, yeah.
that we could throw under that.
Yeah.
To catch things.
And then there was the little room you're talking about. That was the fruit cellar.
The fruit
Yeah.
cellar,
Fruit cellar.
which
That our
In the corner.
grandfather used to store paint.
Yes.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
what I was gonna say.
He had paint storage in
Yeah.
there, and it had spiders too.
oh yeah, a lot of
Because it
spiders
had
down
it didn't have a floor. It
Right,
had a
dirt.
dirt floor,
Yeah.
and it was dark in
there. Do you
there.
remember in the laundry room there was a 3-burner
Yes,
stove?
like to boil clothing.
It was to boil clothes. It
It-
was a oval copper
Yeah,
pot
a pot, big
that
thing.
fit on top of the 3-burner stove. And we learned out real quick. You never turned the valves on the stove because it's
It
one
was
that you had to
gas.
light.
Yeah,
so it was
you
just
would have to
gas.
light it.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
turn those, but that was used to boil clothes. And as I've heard from some other folks, that was also used in its day to boil starch. When they would starch shirts, they would heat the starch up in that copper thing and dip the clothes in it and then hang it up. Dip the shirts. And
We
they
never
would be
knew what.
starched.
We never did.
Never
use
knew
it.
that. I just found that out.
I think I saw it
recently.
used one time.
Oh
maybe.
yeah, no one ever used
Nobody
it.
ever
And there was
touched
a
it.
there was a wooden paddle.
For
that-
yeah,
that
for
would have been
stirring your
used to
clothes,
stir-
but you could
Which
boil,
also
boil
had a
clothing.
second use.
Use, yes,
on
it
your
did.
tush. Yeah.
On
Yeah,
occasion.
you could use that too. But we could definitely do, and but down there too, that area was used for storage. We had our front porch had a swing on it, and it was a wooden,
This size of
yeah, size of a couch, and it was suspended from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Of
It had
course,
springs, and there were chains that were there, and you would hook the springs onto the thing, and you could run the swing. Well, in the wintertime, we would take that down and take it to the basement, and a lot of times we stored paper and other stuff on it because you couldn't, newspapers and such. You
Yeah.
pile them up, stack them up. But that whole area, that's where we played too. You
We
played down
would
in
ride tricycles
Right,
around
yeah.
the basement,
I remember that.
around
Chase-
the poles.
ride,
Yes.
yeah, and
We-
whatever
we
we
would
could
chase
do.
around.
And yeah, our grandfather he had some tools and stuff down there. He had a little work area, storage. He liked to keep everything. He had one drawer in this.
It should be
built-in
said what
thing.
grandfather did.
Well, he was a tool and die maker.
Tool and die maker for golf research.
So he would make things. He made his own chisels and other stuff like that. But like he used to smoke little cigars,
Yes.
and they came in a little tin, about yo big, and that tin. Well, that's material that could be useful someday, and so he had an entire drawer full of them.
Some of which he had cut the flat sections out of.
Yeah,
So they were in there. They were sharp.
they were.
They were useful for chipping paint or
Yeah,
scraping
yeah.
something. Yeah.
But
They made do with what they had.
But yeah, that was where. But we all, you would go down and play down there, whatever hide and seek in the basement. Which, what the heck? It's
Where you
basement.
gonna hide? But okay.
But,
yeah.
but you did
Hide
what you
behind
could
the
do.
The bathroom.
We had
In the
one.
bathroom.
There was one time when we were all upstairs, and in our kitchen eating dinner and that, and we heard this loud bang down in the basement. I'm like, what was that? And so my dad and my grandfather went downstairs to hear a water pipe had burst. It was a copper water pipe, and water was gushing
Spraying
everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah.
So they had to go in and replace many of the pipes in the basement. It was a big project, and they did
Remember
that. Yeah,
But
that was
looking back, they were probably actually galvanized pipes, which was used at the time.
I don't know, but they put copper in.
Yeah, they put
I know.
copper in afterwards, but at one time it was galvanized, and
Rust.
yeah, they sort
Well,
of rushed
even
through it.
as we well know, copper pipes will get leaks from over
On
time.
occasion, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so when it came to, because of the location of the house, the house was on this terrace. There were two houses to, if we're up staring outside down to the boulevard, there were two houses to the right that were similar to our house. And then a house to the left with the family. On the lower portion of that, it was a house that was rented. And the family down there was named Moore, and they were our neighbors, and we helped take care of the dog and things like that. But we didn't go over to Mrs. Moore's house either, unless you were invited or asked. They had a fence though that separated their house from our house. It was a picket fence. The other houses didn't, but the interesting thing is we were sort of isolated as a family from other kids.
Yeah.
The location made it so that we would have to go. There were houses further up the backyard,
yes.
the terrace.
Yeah.
The backyard itself was
Just a hill.
a hill. Literally, there was a sidewalk that went around the entire house, and it was in the backyard as well.
Right, in a little
And a
flat
small flat area of grass that was maybe
and then straight up.
5 or 6 feet. Yeah, you're good. 6-8 feet wide. If it was 8 feet wide, it was big. That was big.
Yeah.
And then it terraced up, and it was all ivy and jagger bushes.
Yeah.
A lot of jagger bushes. And at one time, we built a little set of steps that went
Yeah,
up
it went up.
to the
Second terrace.
upper terrace. But beyond,
Remember, 2/3 of the way up was a cherry tree.
there was a little cherry
There was
tree.
a-
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
We would go up and eat the cherries,
Or make a pie.
or make a pie. And also that grew up there, I don't know if you remember, was
Berries.
poppies.
Oh, I didn't remember the poppies. No, I
Yeah.
remember that.
There were
Yeah.
poppies that grew up there.
Yeah.
Oh, up on the hill.
Up on the hill.
But the
Yeah.
kids that we did play with, the few that were up there, were up on the hill. So
Yeah, Patrick.
it wasn't anything where we could do. Yeah, there you go.
Forget it.
But there was nothing there that we could. Nobody really to play with.
No.
So we only had each other to do things.
Yeah.
So we
Kept
did.
our
We did.
entertainment.
Yeah.
We-
So, but just real quickly, back to the Moore's house.
Yes.
I found the Moore's basement to be even more mystical.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
scary than
Absolutely.
ours.
The most mystical part was where Clyde slept.
Yes.
Literally, you went in their front door.
Mr. Moore,
Mr.
Clyde.
Moore, Clyde Moore. There was a closet right ahead of you. But you went through the closet. There was a door at the back of into a room where this guy's bed was. And then as you went through that, there was a little step up into where a bathroom was, a shower. And then that stepped out into this other room where they had like their furnace and such. And some of it went down, and then you'd go
Yeah.
over, and there'd be steps going back up.
It seemed like there were 6 levels.
It was the craziest house.
It
It
freaked
was-
me out.
it was
I was
very-
not comfortable.
It was a creepy place on that
Yeah.
level.
I don't remember that basement.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't remember the living room,
The big
The
living room.
2-story
The
living
two-story
room.
living room,
Awesome.
the
It had-
staircase,
And a balcony.
And
A
that
balcony
balcony.
overlooked the living
the
room.
little TV room upstairs.
Wait a minute,
Yeah.
that was real?
Yes.
Yeah.
Balcony, the
Seriously,
2-story with the balcony.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
overlooking the
Three-story.
living
And
room.
I swear.
the staircase came around the
Yeah.
sort of a
outside.
curve,
Oh my goodness!
and it was metal.
I thought
It
that
was a
was
twisted metal
No, that's all
staircase.
real.
And they had
And even
a
in their living room, I mean,
huge
it was,
Christmas tree.
yeah, the living room
Two-story
had that marble
Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
over
Yeah.
and
It had an alcove
stuff. Yes.
and a bird and a fireplace.
It's a fireplace
Fireplace,
in the alcove.
yeah.
But that was our neighbors, you know.
Yeah.
We would go over there and visit once in a while. But Clyde slept in this place down, and what was her name? Mrs. Moore's name?
Bernice? No,
No.
no, not Bernice.
But regardless, she had a bedroom upstairs, and Claudia,
Claudia.
her
The
daughter, had a bedroom upstairs as well, and they had a kitchen there, and I think that was about it.
And a pretty collie
And a nice
Beautiful
collie,
lady.
lady.
and
Beautiful collie named Lady.
yeah, it was a good dog. But
A good dog. That a little side story on that. Lady was always trying to get a mailman.
yeah, like the mailman.
I mean, they had to keep Lady in when the mailman came. And this was when the mailman came to the house and delivered mail. There was a
He
walked house to house. And one time Lady did get the mailman.
Ooh.
And the mailman goes down to his car and he's checking his legs. Lady had no teeth.
Yeah, by then she is, yeah.
She had, yeah.
She gummed the mailman.
But she gummed him. Yeah, she had like 3 teeth in her head, you know, at this point. Poor
She was
dog.
old.
But was it?
She finally
was
got
a
her
good
mailman.
pooch. Good,
Good dog.
pooch.
Nice dog.
But
Don't
playing
touch the tape.
playing football or baseball or even golf. I remember we golfed back
Yes,
there
we
too,
did.
in the backyard. So
Baseball.
baseball was
That
was
was-
unique
Yeah.
because you learned to hit with precision. Because there was on the first floor there was a small sun porch. We're talking very small, but it had single pane glass windows all around
over
it.
Yeah.
And so somebody would essentially, on this little 8-foot wide strip of grass, you'd be at one end with your bat. Somebody would be pitching. Somebody would be in the outfield
Which was basically right
Which
before
was
the,
by the fence.
by the fence where the went
hill.
to the
The
moors,
Yeah.
with a hill. The hill, of course, was on the to your left side as you're hitting. It would be the left field stands. But essentially, if you hit the ball, if it was on the ground, you at least got a single because first base was down by the top of the steps.
You ran around the house.
Yeah, so
You
you
ran-
ran to throw them through the house.
You would or somehow
There never
beat
was
the
a
guy.
first baseman because it was worthless.
There was no
There's no way to
point
get to the ball
do
to the
it.
There
first
was only
baseman.
4 of us, so it was 2 and 2. So
It was
Yeah.
always 2 and 2, and so second base was you would go in front of the house, and there was a place over there. But the cool part there was because of the front porch on the house. If you had the ball, you could hide behind the front porch and wait for the guy to come to get
From
the
first to
second
second.
base and tag him out. So you'd wait and sneak attack.
Yeah.
If you hit the idea was not to hit the ball over the fence because then we had to ask permission to go get the ball.
And it would be in the ivy.
Always be in the ivy, or we'd
So you'd
lose
have
it
to
in
dig
our own
through the
ivy.
to find it.
We'd lose it in our own ivy, which was
Many a time with the
so.
foul ball,
Like I said,
yeah.
you did learn to hit with precision. You learned to get around on the ball and hit straight. But we played. Now, a couple of times we switched it around where we put the batting section
in the front.
on I would call it the
Moors,
left
between
front.
the Moors
More,
and-
between Moore's
but in
house
the
and ours.
front.
But there was a gully down
Yeah,
there.
was a gully
which
down
was
there.
the
Like,
problem.
If you missed the ball, then the ball went down the
Down the
gully.
gully.
And the batter had to go down the gully to get
then
the
you
ball,
would
bring it
hit up
back up,
into
and
the
continue
ivy.
playing.
Then we'd hit into the ivy, but we had more space to
It was
hit in,
wider.
except that there were windows on
Yeah,
the left.
on the left. Yeah.
The windows that
Someone flew
somebody
from.
came flying out of.
Jeff fell out of.
That would
um,
be me.
And landed on me. But that's another piece of the story.
That is, it is. So we do that. We play football in the backyard. Same deal.
Yeah.
You had this little strip, and it was just. Back to baseball. Real quick, the backstop. See, our grandfather had made. He was good about making things, so he decided what he really needed in all of his life was a sifter for dirt.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Gotcha.
so he basically made this thing that was roughly the size of a door, maybe a little bit bigger, out of 2x4s and some of those marsh wheeling little tins were
To-
used on the corners to help
reinforce
keep,
the edges,
reinforce
keep
the
it
edges.
square.
And then he
Because it
had
had to be square.
some kind of wire frame.
Quarter inch.
Yeah,
Quarter mesh.
Quarter-inch mesh
and he had
that he had nailed onto
this thing
frame.
so that he could take dirt and throw it on there and rub it and
Break
and
it
sift
into little pieces
Sift
for
out the
the
rocks.
garden that we grow.
And he made it with that it had a little set of feet that swung out
Mm-hmm.
so that he could do this at an
You
angle
could toss it at it.
and this would work. Well, we looked at that and said, "Oh, that's a backstop." Because when you pitch the ball, then it didn't go into
If the batter
Mrs.
missed
Van
it, it didn't
Asdale's
go
yard.
into Van Asdale's yard. Yes.
We would be able to,
It would
you know,
bounce
it would
sort of
it would
back.
basically be the catcher. So you throw the ball if the guy missed, you know, then you at least had a prayer of getting the ball back reasonably
Yeah.
without it, like say, running off into the next yard.
Yeah.
That worked out. Actually worked out pretty well. But
Mm-hmm.
I think probably Grandpa was apoplectic when he found out
Found out.
we used it for that because that was like not its purpose. Oh well, it served a very good purpose for that.
Correct. Yeah.
But now when it comes to like the front porch, the front porch was a wonderful place.
Oh,
It was
gosh, yeah.
decently
It
big.
was big.
Had lots of we had, like as I mentioned, we had a swing.
Yeah.
Many a summer night spent out there with a 19-inch black and white TV, watching the baseball game, watching the Pirate game. You know, roll the TV because it's portable. It was on a little stand. We'd roll it out there, plug it in somehow, run an extension cord, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and sit out there on an evening and watch the Pirates play ball.
And we play under it too.
We played under the porch. And we climbed there's lattice work that was on the bottom section.
Yeah, up the side.
And there were balusters and railings, and of course, as a kid, you always got your knees stuck in the balusters
Yes.
and thought that you were going to be there for
Forever.
eternity
Yes.
because you couldn't get your knee back out. It was like, no. There was much weeping
Yeah.
as knees inevitably got stuck in that.
Yeah.
So then we'd have to have somebody come along.
But
and
we climbed from the ground
up,
up the lattice work,
Oh.
and then
crawl,
go either over top or along the top of the
holding
The
on
outside of
on
the
a little-
railing.
on a little
on a little ledge.
ledge. Oh yeah. It was
Must
like a
have.
pirate ship. It was no,
Oh,
she.
not so
It was just what you did.
Entertaining
You
yourself.
you crawled up the outside of railings.
She
and
knew where we
things.
were.
and
That's
we were
true.
playing.
There was a railing on those steps that
Yeah.
going down to the street.
long step,
It was a 2x4.
2x4 railing.
Yeah.
So it's 2 inch.
Just 2 inches wide and 4 inches. We climbed.
We would walk
I
it.
was
Walk.
telling Griff that the other day.
we tightrope
From the
walked
bottom
that
to
from the
the
bottom to the top.
This railing
You'd
up
hop
the
up on
slope.
it. You'd hop on it down at the bottom of the steps.
You didn't make it every time.
And
you could
that
done
was
it
Tight
down.
rope walk right up the thing, and it was that wide.
It's 2 inches.
And never thought anything about it
No.
because there was soft ground to
on
the
this
left.
side. Steps on
Van
this side.
Asdale's side was
The
soft.
step-
If
the
you were going to
steps
fall,
were on the
you
other side.
tried to throw yourself to the left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you tried
But we
not
didn't
to
fall
go in
that
their
often.
yard very often.
Or if we jumped off, we jumped off. You
Yeah.
didn't really care.
There were splinters.
There were
Yes,
splinters.
this is true. This
There
was
were
not a
splinters.
railing that you ran your hand up.
There had to be.
Yeah, there was
There were shoes
more
too.
than once.
Definitely
you wore
wore shoes doing this. Yeah.
More shoes. But that was just part of normal. It was there for the taking.
Yeah.
It made perfect sense to us that you would
Well,
tightrope walk this
And
thing.
that was the same mindset I had when from the third floor I opened the window and
Yes.
climbed
Went
out
out onto the roof.
And we used to do that off the second floor. We'd go out onto the front porch roof.
Right.
Yeah.
And
But
just
I
sit
did it
out
on
there.
the third floor.
Yeah,
And I was not very old then.
No.
I was
No.
No.
4 or 5 years old, and I did that. And that is one thing that Mom did have a heart attack about.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
She
Yeah.
saw me up there and was like, "Oh no,
Oh,
no.
Not a good thing.
go back in right now." And so I did. I mean,
Yeah.
I was nowhere.
Obviously, you got back in fine.
I did, but
Yes.
you know what was up there? These massive cone beehives
Oh, okay.
were up on the roof.
Oh, I bet.
Didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they were up there, and I was like, yeah, this is not a good place to be.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I did that. I remember doing,
Ooh.
looking over the edge, and Mom was down there, and she not happy with me.
Yeah, I remember that.
No, but it was nothing to crawl out on the front porch roof, from in our
And
bedrooms.
we would watch the Crafton
Fireworks from up there.
From the
up
top of
there.
the front porch roof.
Yeah.
Go out there, climb on the roof. Yeah. I remember we built a go-kart one year. A little bit of a go-kart. I was building a go-kart. And we took one of Dad's old belts, cut it in half, a little leather belt, nailed it to either side of the whatever thing we were
That was
using
your
for
seat
a
belt?
seat. That was
Oh,
a seat
for-
belt. Ran it down the hill. It hit those darn hedges. Of course, that seat belt just broke right off, flying into the hedges. It wasn't good.
It wasn't pretty.
It wasn't pretty, and it wasn't a good go-kart. I mean, it just was, it was raising scraps of
Single
wood.
use.
It's scraps of wood what we had around, but we built a little go-kart and ran it down the hill.
Yeah, see, the gully we used to play
Oh,
Army
sure, you
Oh,
played
yeah,
Army. We
everything.
played Army all the
Played
time.
all kind
Yeah.
of stuff down in that.
down in that little gully. And-
Construction.
and
With the
We had-
Tonka toys
we
and stuff.
Tonka
had
toys.
the good metal Tonka trucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Playing the dirt pile.
Yep.
Play in
Playing
the
the
dirt.
dirt pile. And, yeah, it was a terrific way to grow up.
Yeah. Some of the experiences
Oh,
that
yeah.
we had. Well, we've already sort of alluded to the infamous Flying Jeffrey.
Flying Jeffrey.
Yeah, you did manage to go out the
Yeah.
window.
Was it both the same day that you broke?
Yeah, so
your
it was
finger?
it was a Friday the 13th. Yes.
Oh, I know that.
How
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah, it was the same day.
Yeah.
Friday the
Oh, I
13th.
didn't know
Yeah,
Yes.
I went
You were
out.
first.
No, I don't think I was.
Actually,
I was
think
towards
you
the
were
end of the
first.
day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeffrey was ill
Oh.
that day.
I was in. Yeah.
Yeah, you were not feeling well, so you were in the house.
Yeah.
You
You were on
and
the
I
side.
were outside
Yes.
On the side.
on the side of the house.
You were on the ladder.
Well, we got Grandpa's step ladder,
And we're crawling up
and we'd climb up the step ladder,
and wave.
wave to Jeffrey inside the screen window. The window was open, and he could see us, and wave to Jeffrey and jump off the step ladder. So we were doing this, and
Mom.
you were laughing.
Yeah.
and,
Mom asked me what they're doing,
yeah,
so I came up and I leaned on the
he was
screen.
pushing on the
He
screen.
was on the ladder.
I was on the top of the ladder, and
And
the screen went out.
it flew.
Jeffrey came flying out, knocked me off the top of the ladder. He landed on top of me, and he had the concussion.
Concussion.
Mm-hmm.
Off to the hospital.
So off to the hospital for
And
that.
from
know it
myself,
was
A little bit later that
Yeah.
day,
well, for myself, we had I mentioned that we had this back porch that was a sun porch. There was a mail slot cut into the side of the porch. At one time, the steps had been wider.
Yeah.
Okay, they were had been
They were
wooden
wooden
at one time,
at one time.
and they must have been maybe 6 foot wide, 5 foot wide. Well, they were replaced with concrete steps that were only maybe 2.5 feet, 3 foot wide. So that left a little gap there where this letter slot was, and
the letter
there-
slot was over the gap.
over the gap, and there
There's a
was a
little
little ledge that ran along there, and it was
About
a
maybe
kind
inch
of
and a half
normal
wide.
thing for us to do would be to get on the step, put your hand inside the mailbox, come across the
Had a metal
ledge
flap.
over to where the trash cans were,
Yeah.
and jump
The
off
trash
them.
cans were 55-gallon drums.
Yeah.
Right.
The lid sits
Sat
down.
on. And I was attempting to do that for reasons unknown.
No,
When
which we've
I-
done many a time.
And done many, many times, but I didn't have a good day. And I slipped, and
It was Friday the
it
13th.
was. And I as I was falling, I got my hand
Hands
in
in the mail slot.
the mail slot, and
just
it broke.
tore.
It ripped up.
Tore the
it ripped
knuckle,
up
broke
the-
a finger.
Yeah,
And he was
it
sort
was
of
nasty.
dangling a little bit. And that was,
It hurt a lot. It hurt
Same
a
day.
whole lot.
So that was another trip to the doctor. to
There's the
emergency
hospital,
room.
emergency
Same day.
Same day.
Same day.
Same day.
Yeah. So yeah, it was an unpleasant
Red
time.
letter day. That left you uninjured. And
Oh, I had my share of things.
that day, I mean,
Oh, that day.
that day you were the uninjured.
I think the other more notable thing was, under the front porch was where wood and other things were stored.
Yeah.
Grandpa stored stuff.
You know, and lots of spiders. Again, lots and lots of spiders.
Yeah, the big red ones. You know,
Yeah,
outdoor spiders.
yeah. Nasty things. But at the end, one of the ends of the porch was open, so you could get in and do
It
this
was on the
stuff.
north side, on the ditch side.
The ditch side. And there was a wooden plank that had been nailed beneath,
Underside of
across
joist.
the joists. Somewhere along the line, we figured out that you could
Hang under.
hold yourself and swing your legs up into that joist or into that board,
Onto the board.
And hang upside
and
down.
then hang upside down, much like a bat.
Yep.
And so
We
it was
did.
just something we would do. And one fine day, the mailman happened to be coming along while we were doing
And the
this,
three of us are hanging upside
down. And,
Vampires.
he's just, you know,
I can still see him coming
much.
along.
It explains so much.
So, hi, Mr. Whatever, I can't remember.
Was Slattery? Was
Mr.
it
Slattery,
Was
yes.
it Jim Slattery? I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
I think
Yeah,
it was.
that sounds
That
right.
name sounds familiar.
Well, that was. I don't know if it was him or not. But he was our
He was one of the
mailman
mailmen.
for the longest time.
And he also
Um,
had a daughter.
Yeah, Judy. And
Judy Slattery.
anecdotally, Judy was in my high school
Your
class. She passed away a couple of months ago.
Oh, did she? I'm
Yeah.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, she passed away a couple of months ago. As I was telling these guys that, but in my class they're dropping like flies. Like every month or so, boom, there's another one. You know, we'll get a notification that this one's gone. And several of them are people that I did know, and that's unfortunate. But you know that I think that though the camaraderie and the reliance on having to make do with what you had. You know, we didn't have things.
No.
We couldn't ride. There were no bicycles. We had tricycles to ride around the house, but there were no bicycles.
We also had the fire truck.
Oh well, that was a little rider.
The metal
Yeah,
pedal.
yeah, pedal truck.
Pedal truck.
Pedal car.
We'd ride that around
Still.
the house.
Right. Well, yeah, whatever you had. but
Whatever you had.
We shared clothes for years.
shared a lot of clothes.
Lot of
Him to
hand-me-down.
him to me to him.
Yeah.
But
No.
not to me.
Year after year.
No. I don't think
Well,
you got
there
the
were
new
probably
stuff.
sometimes.
Sometimes, and sometimes mine was used
For the
too.
pants.
You
Well, it
know,
was new to us.
it was new to you. It was new to us, exactly.
Well,
Um,
the other thing I was telling Griffin the other day was we used to walk everywhere,
Oh,
and
well,
from a very young age.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
We
I
walked
can
to
remember.
school
10 or 11 years old because we walked to, well, first off, we walked to school every day.
every day.
Right.
Down to, you know, when I was
Phillips.
first, my first school was kindergarten at what was called First
First
Ward
Ward.
School, which was down in Crafton, in the heart of Crafton. And then later on St.
That
Philip.
was about 3/4 mile to the first
I
floor.
have no idea
Roughly.
how, but it was far enough.
Yeah.
I was explaining too that when we would walk to school or back, there were 18 different ways we could go
Oh yeah.
Sure.
to accomplish it, and we did that.
Yeah.
We we
We
go down
never knew which way we were going to go.
did go down
any
Dinsmore
particular day.
Street, go down McMunn, go down the alleyway, or down,
Go down Bradford.
Bradford Avenue,
Yeah.
and
And then there's crossroads, and you could take one of them and go over here.
we might stop down there, go past the meat market, and then pass and say hi to Mrs. Skanga. and the
Flower shop.
flower
What
shop.
was the place where we got the STP stickers? There was an auto parts store or something that
Yes.
we would be
Yeah.
able to
Yes.
stop at.
Was it Monroe Auto Parts?
I don't remember what the name of it was.
No, I can't recall.
Yeah.
There was also behind the municipal building, Weaver's Drugstore.
Yes, indeed.
It was
Yeah.
beside the train tracks.
tracks. Train
just
Weaver's
sodas.
Drugstore, and I don't know whether they had drugs in there, but they did have 5-cent Cokes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You go in and ask for a 5-cent Coke, and they give you a little Coca-Cola glass with real Coke syrup and you get a 5-cent Coke. We thought it was the best, so you went and had Coke. And at St. Philip's School, they had candy machines.
Yes, they did.
Oh,
They
really?
had candy machines. You'd walk in the door, inside the door, and there were the candy machines. I think it was a nickel for a candy bar. Yeah. So yeah, you would get they sold the candy in the school.
Yeah, and talk about walking. We would walk to school.
Oh,
At
yeah.
St. Philip's, we would walk to school every day. It was about a mile. We were too close to school to qualify for staying at school for lunch.
For a while. I mean, there were times when
So
later
we-
on we did, but yeah,
But we would walk
home.
home for lunch and then turn around and walk back to school.
Internet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was down and back
It's down and-
twice
Yeah.
in a day.
Didn't know that.
We would walk in the summertime. We had a family pass to the pool.
Yeah.
The pool was even further than the school. We'd walk
Yeah, we
walk down
and then the baseball field was further than that.
and
Yeah.
go down with our bat and ball and go play in a real ball field, and as best we could.
Until your littlest brother gets smacked in the face with a ball
That's right.
Oh, I didn't know that.
and bleeds all over Big Brother's shirt
That's right.
all the way back home.
And
Wow.
it happens.
Yeah, things happen, yeah. And
Um,
talking about baseballs, you mentioned Skangas, Pat Skanga.
Yeah, they were up top of the hill.
Lived behind us. Well, Pat was in front of his house. Now, the back of our house and the back of his house
Faced each other.
Yeah,
But he was way up high.
Yeah.
Well, he was on the other side of his house, on the front of his house, hitting fungos.
Yeah.
You know, crack the baseball. One of them cleared his house.
Clear the hill.
I cleared most of the hill. I was down in the backyard. All of a sudden, something smacks me in the side of the head.
Out of
That was the
nowhere,
baseball.
it was like a meteor out of the sky.
Smack.
It hits upside the head, you know. We're like, what the heck happened?
Of course, screaming.
It was
you know,
man down, you know. Certainly
What's
is.
the chances though?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
We're standing in the
astronomical.
backyard.
You know, the guy's just standing there, and all of a sudden this ball comes in and whacks him upside the head. You know.
Explains a few things.
This was also during a time. They're next to Patrick's house. They decided somebody bought a lot, and they started building another house, and they were building it. And I remember this was during the time when the airplane tests would be going on, and there was a guy up on a scaffolding laying brick, and a sonic boom went off in the middle of the afternoon. I thought the poor guy was going to fall off there. Because, you know, you don't even know this is coming. You don't hear anything. All of a sudden, boom, you know, it just,
Oh, jeez.
they stopped doing that anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have that anymore. But it happened on occasion if they were testing
I'd say
whatever.
pretty regular basis back
For a
then.
while,
Yeah.
yeah. Remember the air raid sirens?
I was always going to
Yeah.
say, every Monday.
At noon.
No, it
11,
was like
was
10,
it?
10 or 11.
10:30 or 11.
The air raid siren would go off. There was an air raid siren up at like Herschel Field or something, and it would that would go off. And every noon, I think it was noon, was the fire siren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would
Yep.
run the fire siren off.
Test the fire siren.
Yeah, to let you know it was noon.
Yeah.
Right. That I must have gotten those.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the noon thing, and that happened every day, I think, except for Sundays. I don't think it did
Yeah,
Sunday.
probably not.
But Mondays was the air raid siren, so they'd run the air raid sirens.
You need to explain what those are.
Well,
Air raids,
that's
well, yeah.
true. Yeah, you know, it was during the Cold War, and there was this theoretical threat of a nuclear attack from the Russians
From
or
Russia.
somebody. They would run drills from school. They would
school.
say,
Yeah, fallout shelters drills.
well,
Not here,
it would be. No, I remember them sending us home. For reasons unknown. I mean, it's like, okay, well, you know, incoming, so everybody go home. Like, that's going to help, you know.
True.
But in the day, they said you have to get home in like 15, 20 minutes or something. You have this much time to get home. So you could die there. And then be incinerated
Well, we
at
were
your
not
house.
responsible for
Not
it.
here
Having to
because
school.
we could get
Because
sued.
who's going to clean that?
Exactly. None of them nuns are gonna. You knew that.
Yeah. Oh, the nuns.
Nuns were another
Si-
hazard.
Sister
Dorothea.
Well, their sister
There was
Dorothea, the first
Mary
grade.
Emma.
First
Sister
grade.
Mary
Sister
Emma.
Mary
Sister
Emma.
Mary Emma was
Oh,
the
gosh.
first grade.
Yeah, first grade, none.
Yeah, they would
Uh,
beat kids.
Oh, they would take
rulers.
wooden rulers that had the metal spine in them for the straight edge,
Yeah, they'd
smack
whack-
across the knuckles.
Yeah, they'd whack you.
Oh,
They grab
and
your
Sister
hair.
Dorothea,
Yeah,
the principal's office was on the first floor,
yeah.
and this young man here, he decided at lunchtime it would be a great thing to. We used to have jars, like gallon-sized jars of white glue. Well, if you've ever done anything with white glue, it's gummy. It gets gummy. So he peels the gum off the
Guilty.
top of the jar. He's bouncing it off the wall.
But the nun, see what the nun would do. There were coat closets
Mm-hmm.
that were walk-in coat closets.
Yeah.
There were two entrances. One was from the hall. One was from the room, so you could like hang your stuff in there. And it was her habit
To sneak in.
sneak into the coat closets of different classes and
And
look
look.
to
See
see if anyone was doing anything they shouldn't be doing, like talking or passing a note
Or
And at lunchtime,
bouncing a piece
I-
of glue off the wall.
off the blackboard. Well, you would have thought that I had committed bloody murder, and I got
Dragged
hauled
off down the marble steps.
And oh yeah, and our mom was
Called
called.
mom, who,
She was not happy.
well, mom,
She
as I
gave-
recall, you were an infant.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little.
So,
House you were.
I would-
yes, you were an infant, and mom got called down to school. So, she had to bring you along,
Yeah.
get down to school, and she
Walking.
got down there.
She was just
Let's say, Sister Dorothea, as I recall,
well. You got to remember what the nun would do to you. She would become the sweetest individual on the planet, like almost saintly, when the parents showed up. Oh, Mrs. Vorbach, can't have. Instead of beating the crap out, as she was beating the crap out of me, my mother was not happy and basically gave her a piece of her mind and told her, "Don't you ever call me again for
ripped up one
something
side, not the other.
as stupid as this. This, if you're gonna, smack him on the butt, or something, do whatever.
Don't you ever
Not-
call me back down here.
Not for something as
throwing a glue ball off the wall.
as stupid as this, because she didn't even know what it was.
No.
Someone like
Just, yeah.
And I was just showing another kid because this thing bounced like a Super Ball.
Yeah.
That was the thing. It was the craziest thing. You'd drop it and it would really take off. So I'm like showing one of the other friends of mine. I said, "Check this out, man! Look at this thing on fly."
You got caught.
She comes flying in the door, and I'm like, "Oh boy." Yeah. So life in Crafton at 17, 15 was cool.
Yeah, remember where we would play football also when we got a little older?
Well, we went up top of the hill.
Across from Skanga's. Up the
Yeah,
top
they had
of
a
the hill.
vacant lot.
It was a vacant lot.
Yeah.
And we just go up there and play football.
Play football with
Then-
neighborhood kids. Pick up games.
We'd wander around, and then besides that, we'd go up over the top of that hill and down the other side.
Yeah, which down to Baldwick Road, through the woods and down
Through the woods,
over
down the
that slag hill
Yeah.
Yeah,
down. We didn't know where the
Slag.
hell we were. We
Yeah.
thought we knew it was in the woods.
It
Yeah.
was an alien world.
It
Right?
was.
It
yeah.
was indeed.
Somehow we avoided getting poison ivy or anything like
and
that.
we avoided heavy metal poisoning as far as we know and everything else because slag.
There was a creek
was-
down there.
Yeah.
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 The creek ran orange and frothy.
Yeah. Yeah. It did. And there'd be like little dammed up areas, and you'd be walking across.
Yeah, but slag
Well,
is.
shoot, like
Uh,
we used to play with the little mercury beads. For
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
we did that indeed.
I
You
remember
break the
doing that.
break the thermometer. I was going to say the slag is from the steel mills.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the waste,
Leftover.
the waste, and they
Yeah.
would dump it over the hills.
And we'd slide down
So
there
we
and
climb
climb
all
back,
over this stuff.
climb back up. It was hard to climb back
It
up.
was
You had to really
slot-
work at
slid.
it. So
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was in our
all that was in our
part of our playground.
our past, and
Yeah, but after grandparents moved out,
yeah, we took
then
over
we had
that.
access to the second floor.
Then we had our chemistry set.
We had our chemistry set, which consisted of various
sulfur.
household things.
Boron.
Yeah.
Well,
Everything from aftershave lotion.
Yeah, I remember aftershave.
Yeah.
We put some of that, eye of newt,
Methylate.
whatever,
Methylate, all
Shaving
kinds of stuff.
and a Bunsen burner,
And a Bunsen burner. And the spider.
Oh,
and the
yes.
spider. We
Yeah,
wanted to
spider.
make,
You guys
kill,
made up a concoction and
kill
Yeah,
that sucker.
those big red spiders.
Yeah.
The one time we're walking through the house with a piece of paper with one of these spiders on it, and Mom's like,
What are you doing?
"What
She's
are
on
you doing
the
with that?"
phone.
Yeah, she was on telephone.
Yeah, she was on the
She's
phone.
on the- They just walked through here with the spider.
The big
going
spider.
upstairs. I don't
And
know
went
what they're doing.
upstairs up to the chemistry lab, which was
Yeah,
the old
which was
kitchen.
yeah,
The kitchen.
the
yeah,
kitchen up there.
up there, and put a drop of whatever it is
One
we
drop.
concocted. One drop. That spider was done.
Yeah, he didn't last
Immediately.
long. It was Raid could have come,
Yeah.
learned a thing or two.
Yeah.
I think it was shaving cream,
Oh, it was a mixture of whatever we could find.
aftershave,
Yeah.
methylate.
Yeah, there was all
It
kinds
was
of.
pink. I remember it was pink.
Yeah.
There was all kinds of
oh,
stuff.
probably some iodine.
It
Well,
might have
we
been
had
that too.
mercurochrome. Mercurochrome.
whatever.
Well,
Mercurochrome,
mercurochrome.
yeah.
Yeah. See, my grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good at that. Before they moved out though, remember we ended up getting Grandpap and Grandma Costler's swimming pool.
Ah, yes.
They
the rectangular
bought
pool.
The rectangular pool.
Yes.
You put it together. It had tubes that went through.
Tubes and corner pieces.
Yeah,
and
and
a
the
rubber
seats and-
liner. And you had to run the tubes
Tubes
through
through
the rubber, the top of the rubber liner.
Yeah, and it was a pool.
And then there was a corner piece that went on each of the four
And
corners.
we filled it up. It was a waiting pool, but we didn't know. It was our swimming pool. So we had a swimming pool. But it was in our yard. And when you kind of sloshed around in this
Yeah.
thing, it would, it wasn't,
It
it
wasn't
wasn't,
the smoothest
swampy.
surface.
it was kind of lumpy. And I recall, I got out of the pool, and later on, my chest was kind of raw.
Irritated, raw.
It was
yeah.
irritated. And so my grandmother, bless her lovely soul, said, "Oh, we'll put something cool on that." And I'm trying to remember what the heck it was, but it was like,
Pure alcohol.
oh yeah, oh yeah, I was on fire.
Sea breeze or something.
Yeah, sea breeze. It was sea breeze. It was sea breeze. She put
Cooling,
sea
yeah.
breeze on my chest.
Except when you have raw skin.
It was turning red. I was like,
I'm going to pass out.
get it off. I put splashing water on it.
No.
Grandma burns me to death with
Yeah,
sea breeze.
back to injuries. Your injury
Oh,
which
well,
was
he
rather-
burned his hand.
rather severe.
Yeah.
You decided to try ironing.
Yeah, on my hand.
And,
That hand.
Put the hot iron on top of
No,
his hand.
sorry, that hand.
That hand. That hand.
Oh,
like-
yeah.
Yeah.
I do not remember it. I remember having the little booty sock thing
Yeah.
on after.
Yeah.
But that and the cream.
It was
Yeah.
just an accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tried to-
I think Mom went to answer the phone or something. And
She was on the phone.
And you
Yeah.
came over and put the iron on your hand.
I'm gonna iron my hand today.
Yeah, something like that. Well,
Get rid of the creases.
you learned that lesson real
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, like you say, you're not a parent till you have two. Well,
Yeah.
I was fourth.
Yeah, by then,
That's what I did too.
yeah.
Yeah.
If he's still screaming, he ain't dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
But that was where Nettie, Nettie was born, and we all took turns caring for you.
Caring. Yeah.
Ever since.
Well, no, it's like all right, you were a novelty.
Go back. Remember
I can imagine.
exploring up on the second floor when we finally had
yeah.
access to the second floor. Well, we had one bedroom, which was our grandparents' bedroom on the second floor, and the three of you had
You got
What was
What was
had been
Helen's
Helen's
room?
room?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
bedroom,
the
Yeah.
blue room. Yeah.
and we discovered in the cupboard
Oh yeah.
one of the floorboards was loose.
It's kind of
Might be a
interesting.
treasure in there.
Yeah.
So we pry up this piece of floorboard in the cupboard. Looking down. Can't see nothing down there. So went and got
The light from the microscope.
light from the microscope, put it on an extension cord.
Lowered it down.
Lowered down there.
Between
What's
the
down
walls.
there?
It, was,
It's
it ended
between
up
the
being
walls.
between the walls. There wasn't anything.
There was
down
nothing there.
I was getting ready. I thought you were going to say you put me in there.
No, we didn't do that. We didn't do anything like that to you. Yeah,
No, but it was like,
that was you
Weird
know
thing, look
the
between the
crux
walls.
of
entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
of that place, and like I said, because we were in a situation where we had to rely on one another for amusement, and we did. Then when our dad passed away, it was really too much house for mom
For
and,
anything.
and
Yeah.
for us, and so she took the wise step of saying, I have to sell this house. And that's when we moved a few miles up the road to Crafton Heights, Elliott, whatever you want to call it,
Dickens Street.
and to Dickens Street, which was a small one. It was a single level house. It had a basement. It was unfinished
A
when we
basement
got
and
it.
garage.
Had a small powder room downstairs and one bathroom, and small bedrooms. The bedrooms were. She had what was the master bedroom, which was probably 12 by 12 or 12 by 14.
Yeah,
It wasn't big. Our room was like 9 by 13. Your room was similar. There was a living room.
9 by 12.
And Nettie's
Yeah,
room.
and
I
Nettie's
have
room
red
was about
blocks.
is
your-
about
yours-
9 by 9.
At
Yeah.
Best.
Yeah.
Maybe
you
less
know,
than that wide.
Each of them had a closet, and then there was an eating kitchen, and that was the place where we all really grew up.
Till we were teenagers.
And teenagers and
Got married
ready,
and-
ready to move out.
We still walk a lot of places from.
We did walk
From
a lot
there.
of places
From-
from there.
I mean, we walk.
But then by then we
miles.
could get bicycles, so we had bicycles, but we bicycled down to like the McKees Rocks and things.
Yeah.
And we rode those bicycles in the woods.
Oh
way-
yeah.
Way before there was mountain biking.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
We
Mountain
were
Yeah.
We were riding
riding
trails
around.
and
Yeah.
We would
Right.
walk.
Remember
We
the
would walk from there all the way out Route 60, past Permanis,
Yeah.
up the side of the hill,
climb up
Yeah.
the side of the hill
Oh, jeez.
and back in the back there.
back in the back, and we'd end up scavenging like shells,
Bullet shells.
bullet
yeah.
shells, 22s.
Ah.
22s,
no,
30
it
out
wasn't 22s,
6s,
it
and
was
stuff like that.
long ones.
I mean,
Long ones too.
Yeah.
we thought nothing of walking that
Yeah, we just
at all.
you walked.
Like I said,
And
we
you'd
walked
come
down
back
to the
down
McKees,
and walk back
McKees
home.
Rocks,
Down
down
the
Wind Gap
rocks.
Road or someplace,
All
you
the way
know,
up
Jeez.
Steuben Street.
down and
Walk over to Uncle Phil's.
Everywhere.
yeah, Hand Helen's
Go play in the
Yeah.
the car barn
before it became a church.
before it became a church,
And then
you know,
walked to high school.
and then walk
Yeah.
to high school
Once we were in high school, walking to Canada.
sometimes.
Sometimes you
Yeah,
could actually
take the
beat
bus, but
beat the
there'd be
bus
times
because we
you
had
walk.
a second bus.
didn't really walk the.
Not often.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I walked it a lot.
Really?
You could actually get home before the second bus.
Yeah.
Would
I
normally drop you off.
And I'd save my money and stop at the Dairy Queen and get a milkshake.
There you go. Yeah.
No, see, I didn't do much of
I
the
didn't-
much
yeah,
of
I
the
didn't do
walking,
that
but it was
much.
still where you had we had to walk from home to the bus stop, which was off of Steuben Street.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so
Mhm.
it was a pretty good haul to get to there.
But then when you got,
Well, I
Your
got my
license.
driver's license, so we used to drive. to
and
school.
then we used to drive to high school,
Yeah.
over park over and
Over off one of the side
side
streets
streets.
because we didn't want to pay for a parking
Parking
pass.
On school parking pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that
Remember?
that house had, once again, you just hung out and did what you could do. We built a rocket car, launched
Yeah.
that in the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the neighbor next door thought, he was ready to
Wonder
call the
why.
police on us because we
Yeah.
built a rocket car.
Couldn't step in his yard because
No.
all the grass blades were wired.
Oh, yeah. He knew.
He
We
knew
knew
we were
immediately.
there. We were out
I think he
there.
was just watching us the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He had nothing better to do.
But we had friends up there.
Yeah,
We
there's
had
more
other
kids around then.
kids our own age.
Started a band. garage.
Yeah, garage band,
Basement
and
band.
basement. Yeah, that's where all that started.
The car.
Back
we
in
had
the
car-
woods.
we rebuilt the engine in Mom's station wagon because she blew it up. It was unfortunate, and that turned me off to working on them for a long time because it was so miserable.
Oh,
It was-
really?
yeah, well, it was wintertime.
Yeah.
And we had pulled the motor out of the car, out of the station wagon, backed the car out into the driveway so we could work on the motor, tear it down. In the garage, it was a single car garage. We had
Yeah.
like no light,
Right.
nothing like that. And
Yeah, remember there was a metal beam.
metal
Yeah.
beam, we used that.
Which we
to-
used to
Pull the engine.
pull the engine.
up.
the
Yeah.
problem, the challenge was
Getting
as
out.
as you pull the engine up, you
You had to-
remove the weight.
And the
You
car
had to-
lifts.
So the car starts to lift up, off
Yeah.
the springs, and we could not get the engine high enough that we
To
so we had to
clear
like
it.
lean down on the
Push
car.
it on the
Yeah.
car.
Standing on the fenders, pushing down.
And so we had the transmission fluid was leaking. Well, it snowed overnight.
Yeah.
Well, as we rebuilt this motor, we got it rebuilt and needed to put it back in. We had it all built back up again and ready to drop it in. We go to roll the car in. You can only bring it in halfway because you got to go
Get the
with
engine
the
up there.
engine up
Yeah.
there on the beam.
It's
And it's
cold.
melting on me. I'm under the car, and it's just I'm getting soaking wet. I'm cold, and it's miserable. Hated it.
Well, that
But
That was that the station wagon,
The
the
big
red,
station
the red one.
Yeah,
The
the
red-
rust
cinnamon
rust
color, yeah,
color.
rust
That's
color.
also the one where the UDF bottles.
yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Milk in the summertime.
Whoa!
Yeah, gallon
Wasn't there
milk.
like 4
See,
bottles
they,
of
they
it?
had.
That
Well,
was-
there were several, but only one broke.
Oh yeah, only one broke.
But
It was enough.
Full
they
gallon
had
bottle,
this thing called United Dairy Farms. It was like a conglomerate of dairy farmers that
It's a
would
co-op.
sell the milk co-op to sell milk for lesser than the grocery store. So you go to the UDF store to buy milk,
Yeah.
but they sold it in glass
Glass.
bottles.
Glass gallon.
And
bottle.
one of the bottles, we put them on the floor of the car. We take the precautions, but one of them,
It hit something just right.
and it broke the thing. And so you have an ocean of milk that's sloshing forward and backward.
all underneath the carpet.
Under the
Right.
carpet in the
So
summer.
we cleaned it out, but you can't clean it out enough.
Oh,
No.
That
was
by
so
a day or
nasty.
two later,
We were still going driving to high school too.
Oh,
it was reeking
it was
for,
bad.
of sour
You
milk.
had to have windows open.
No,
Yeah.
that, we didn't get in the car until we were ready to actually go.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause that smell,
Just kinda
that
waited
smell
by the
never
car.
went away.
but
But
that
then
stuff
we
was.
had to pull the carpet out of the
Yeah,
car,
it was bad.
toss the carpet because it just reeked.
There's just nothing to do.
There
reeked.
was always something with that car. That car was a bad car, unfortunately.
Polara,
Yeah.
Dodge Polara wagon.
They Dodge Polar Station Wagon, 1970, and it went through several starter motors. A couple of we used to keep
How many
the.
times we pushed that thing to start?
Well, we didn't really push it to start because
No,
it was
it was-
automatic.
it was just
No,
the,
yeah,
the
we-
bending
didn't we have to
spring
drag
would
it?
go.
Spin.
The bending spring would go in the
Yeah,
in
and
the
it would
starter
just
motors.
bzzz.
Ah, crap! So get another one.
And usually it was in the middle of
one of the universal joints went. A rear
Yeah.
wheel bearing went. This car had less than 50,000 miles on it.
I didn't realize that.
An alternator went, and then there was a ballast resistor up on the firewall
Yeah.
that they used
Oh,
on the
that
Dodges.
yes, that
And
used to
that
go.
would those were notorious for going at any given
And
time.
when that goes, you turn the key in.
And nothing happens.
Nothing.
It's just nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I liked it because
Reek.
it had the seat in the butt way.
Yeah.
back,
Seat
Face
back,
back.
facing
face
the other way.
backwards.
You can see
Except-
where you've been.
Except when Colleen was back there with me, that when you were going to Sandy Lake,
Oh.
she ate all these Smarties
Oh.
and probably vomited all over the back. And then we had to go up front and get squished in because Kevin was a baby and there was a thing he was carrying. No, they didn't have car seats then.
Yeah.
And it was she
Heaven,
and
we
I
barely had
and
seat
Babe and it was rude. That poor car.
The car did see its share. That was the camping trip car, and
Yeah.
Remember,
They went to Canada.
It did get a
Oh
Go
yeah,
to Canada.
we went to Canada with that.
Long way to Canada.
Yeah.
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 That was you guys. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
You didn't know you.
No, you weren't
You were
going
the
down.
rebel at that point.
Yeah.
You were a bad
Too
boy.
cool for school.
Yes.
You had a
But
mustache.
back to the woods. and that.
Well, the woods. Yeah.
the area back there was all old coal mines, undermined,
Yeah.
and there would be these pits where mine had collapsed,
Subsided. Yeah.
and so it was a big dips. And the paths that we rode the bikes on, they went around them and just
Oh
all
yeah.
kinds
You
of things
you,
like
had, you
that.
stood a chance of going down in one of those
Yeah.
holes.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it
Well,
was that.
When they decided to put the project in, they, of course, were excavating, and they came across coal car down in, things like that.
Yeah.
down there.
Well, they just
Find all-
abandoned whatever.
Yeah, abandoned stuff done in there. But the one event when they were clearing things, they, of course, there was a lot of dirt loosened up, and it got real powdery. Bicycles don't go through that very well.
No, they don't.
I was coming down the hill. I hit that. This is when the handlebars were up. So
Oh yeah. you had-
I hit that.
Stop.
Bike stopped. I didn't.
right over the
Land,
top.
flat my face. Broke my glasses. Cut my nose. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Go into mom with shirt to holding up
Yeah. There was always
to
something.
the. Yeah, we were always
There was
getting hurt
always
one way or
something.
anotir.
you
They
know.
had the big vines in the woods too.
the
that
big-
we
used
could
to
swing on the vines.
vines.
Yeah.
I remember
I
that.
was
don't know
just-
what kind of vines they were.
But yeah, it would be. Those
Turns
were
out they
stuck
must
up
not have been poison ivy.
in- No, no.
Yeah.
They were big.
They were
hev-
big,
hev-
thick
they were big
vines.
fat. You could swing like
You
Tarzan.
Swing
those
on
things.
them,
Yeah.
It's fun.
It was fun.
Sort of like, rope swing over a lake, but this is just over
A gully,
Oh,
dirt,
tree.
a gully and dirt
and rocks.
and logs and, if that thing let go, which ultimately it did, but we think someone actually climbed
Cut
up
it.
there and cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It looked
probably.
like
It looked like it was a perfect,
Yeah.
but
The house though,
remodel the basement.
we put up paneling in the basement.
Without knowing
What
we
we
were
were
doing,
doing, or
whatsoever.
even having the right tools to do the job, but we did it. And it turned out fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It turned out good.
And then we leveled the backyard.
Oh,
Which
yes.
was insane by hand.
it was.
By hand.
It
And
was
that was
insane.
a big backyard.
Yeah, I don't know whatever prompted us to do that, but that was crazy.
Yeah.
But we leveled, it had because it had sloped, it kind of sloped down the hill.
It's-
And we said that's not as useful
We
as it could be.
We couldn't do
Let
anything.
us move the dirt and
From this side to this side.
so that it'll be level. And
We did that.
And we
We
did.
started at the back corner, moved all the dirt to the front corner,
yeah,
and
Just
worked
kept
our
going.
way-
Wheelbarrows and
Back and
shovels
forth.
and rakes and
It took a while.
Yeah.
it took a long
a
time.
long time.
But
And
In
that
Back to
would be
Mr.
really
Watt,
nice.
he wasn't very
wasn't
enamored
happy
with
with-
this event.
No.
but he couldn't do anything about it. It was our properties that we
But
had.
Yeah.
remember
But-
when
but it-
Agnes hit?
It did leave a bit of
We cleaned
a
that up.
hill.
Oh, I know, but when
Yeah.
Hurricane Agnes hit,
It
all
washed-
that
it
rain,
washed
it
the
washed
dirt
the
down
dirt
into
down
his
into his
yard,
yard. and
Yeah,
he pitched a fit.
This is the man that had every blade of grass wired because he knew when the ball went on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was just
Yeah.
nasty. He was,
Mean man. Oh well.
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
he took me fishing.
Did he
That's
really?
right. I went fishing too, and you caught something.
I caught something
took
by
you
by
fishing.
Oh,
sheer
sure.
I
luck.
remember that.
It was a
Definitely
bamboo
don't
pole with a
remember that.
hook string.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a real fishing rod. It was just,
He took, I don't remember.
Where'd
Yeah.
you go?
I don't
I
even
have
know.
no idea.
He took.
I
I
caught
went
a
with
fish
him.
trying to
about that
lose you.
big. I
This
brought it
little-
home.
We brought it home, put it in the freezer. It was in the freezer, and then we finally threw the stupid thing out because, like, what are we gonna do with this fish? It's dead fish in the freezer.
Nothing about scaling.
Yeah, we know anything about that. But our dad had a fishing box.
Yes, he
remember the
did.
fishing
Yeah,
box? It was
he
like
did.
a mystery
And rod.
and a rod. Yeah,
Yeah.
one rod,
Well,
and he
when
had
you
the
went
fishing box.
fishing,
I don't know. He had
He had
but there
lures and
were
stuff in there.
like
Big
all kinds of lures.
Like ocean
lures.
lures.
Yeah,
These wicked hooks on them.
yeah, four
Four barb.
barbed hooks and all this
Two-
crazy
two-ended
stuff,
and-
and then plastic rubber worms,
Rubber worms.
Yeah.
rubber worms that you could.
You
that
know what? I
put-
kind of remember that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And sinkers. There
Well,
were different
yeah.
He
gauges.
would,
of
he
sinkers.
would back at Crafton Boulevard, he would be on the porch
Yeah.
Casting.
casting.
Practice.
Practicing.
I remember going fishing.
For one trout. One trout. I mean, there was nothing there.
I don't
There
remember
was-
going
Back
anywhere.
up to the woods behind Dickens Street. Remember snow shovel riding?
Yeah, there was a little path back there, and you'd ride a snow shovel down. Yeah.
We didn't
I
have
forgot
a
about
sled
that.
there.
Yeah, I did have a sled because that died long ago. But
Stand
somewhere
and-
we saw something, people riding a snow
Well,
shovel.
you know, actually, they do it now all the time in Economy Borough. There's the
Yeah.
snow shovel
Snow
competition.
shovel, yeah.
And that was probably what they were covering was snow shovel riding. And we thought, oh, we could do
We
that.
could do that.
We have one of those.
We got one of those. We could do that.
Shovel we could sit
Try
on
that.
and you
Well,
hold the
you
handle
know.
in front of you and go down the hill.
Yeah. But there we had bicycles, though.
Yes, we did.
That bicycles were a fun thing because they were more liberating, and everybody eventually got a bicycle, and you know, you could ride up and down the street and meet your buds and
Yeah, I don't
do
know.
your thing.
Right up
I
to
don't know how
Herschel.
Mom did that.
It was tough.
Yeah,
You know,
It was
she-
tough.
Did with that
a
a
lot.
lot.
Yeah.
Remember the what was it? The big trash thing you guys built? Put the-
Yeah.
The trash. It looked like a coffin. I always thought it was a coffin.
Oh, to put the trash
Put
in.
the trash in. It was that huge wooden contraption with the lid.
Because we always had.
We always had a
Yeah.
ton of trash.
Yeah,
Well, you know, yeah.
And
I
the
mean,
seal test man.
yeah.
Still
Deliver
testing.
That's
milk.
right. They
Deliver
delivered
milk.
milk. They had a little milk box
Yeah.
outside.
Box
You
outside
remember
the
the
back
time I
door.
went out to get it and there was all that ice in there and I picked it up and it
Yeah.
wasn't ice, it
It
was
was
dry
dry.
ice.
Burned you.
Oh.
Burned the heck out of my hands and I
Oh.
remember that you put it in that ice cream dish. We had those big
Oh yeah, and it's bubbling.
and it was bubbling because I was like crying up a storm and you're
Trying to entertain
Mom was
you.
like, just show her. Yeah, that was,
Oh.
I had no clue though.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Oh, why
regular
would you?
ice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
But no, that's those were again the way that we had. You know, it was not an easy existence. You know,
No.
we're living in these tiny little rooms there.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we'd do Christmas. We'd have a Christmas tree.
Christmases
Go on.
were always special.
They
Always
were.
great. We'd go out and buy a tree, a real one,
Mhm.
bring it in, decorate the
Decorate
sucker.
it.
But not till Christmas Eve, right?
Correct.
Yeah, you put-
Well,
yeah.
when we were growing up on Crafton Boulevard.
Oh, that was fantasy land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Total fantasy land.
You'd get up Christmas morning and everything's there.
The
Santa
ritual
came.
was that Dad would bring up the platform,
Yeah.
and we would put the train, the green
track
paper down,
paper.
and the track would get laid
Yep.
for the train, because you were hoping that Santa would bring the train, because you had to ask him
And
for
they
it.
put the tree
Wow.
up.
The
Well,
tree
the
went
tree
in the stand.
was not undecorated.
That on Christmas Eve, it was in the stand, no decorations, and then you went to bed.
You put up.
Then
you know,
Santa.
You actually got to hang your stocking,
That was
Yeah.
and that was
That was
as
it.
far as it went.
Empty stocking, yeah.
Empty
Empty
stocking.
And
stocking.
then when you got up Christmas morning,
Bam.
There was
miraculously,
a train in a village,
there,
and the
and
tree
a
was decorated,
big bag,
and a huge bag for
Bag.
Santa
a
Claus.
red
Yeah.
cloth
Stockings
bag,
were filled. And
Yeah.
it's incredible.
which
It was.
was made out of a sheet, a
And
dyed
you know,
sheet.
to this day, when Kathy and I did that too
yeah.
with Shannon and Justin,
It's just.
it
it's
was
magical.
something that
It's
they still talk about now. You know, just the way we do
Yeah.
too. It made Christmas morning be something extremely special and really cool.
Well, Dickens' mom used to put the red, I don't know, curtain-like thing.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
To go out and you weren't allowed to peek until everybody was
No,
up, and you know, it was like really cool.
And then our mother also just maybe to sort of wrap it up here a little bit for everybody. But growing up, for some reason, the poor lady had this notion that she had to dress us for Halloween, and there is
Oh, yes.
visual
Oh, we
visual
gotta go
evidence
there.
of some of the Halloween things, and Dorothy, I'll keep it to a minimum. But I'm trying to recall some of. I was Robin Hood one year. I do recall
I was a
that,
hobo.
Picture of that.
including my mustache,
Mustache.
painted on mustache.
I was a hobo.
You were a hobo. You were a hobo.
We all
You
were
a hobo,
hobos.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a-
There was a
I-
picture where we were all.
We were all hobos.
Hobos.
We were all, or four of us at least, were 10-minute marching soldier.
Marching band.
Yeah,
Marching
marching band.
Yes, marching. band.
Yeah.
Well,
She-
you were
she-
playing the trombone.
I was playing trouble. He had a clarinet.
I had a clarinet.
Yeah.
A toy drum or something that we had.
Penguins.
Penguins.
We
That
were-
was
we
the
were
worst.
the penguins.
That was the worst. No
That
doubt.
was good.
Uh,
Well, I was 5 years younger than you. So.
she dressed us up in outfits, penguin outfits, like penguin. Yes, like
Yes.
Actual
not
Flop
Pittsburgh
bird.
penguins. There was no Pittsburgh penguin. Well, maybe by then there was. But yeah,
Black and white.
black and white.
Black and white, with
Yeah.
pointy things.
Oh,
so you-
God
you
almighty.
put your arm through the underside
yeah.
of it.
And then-
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz was.
Mr.
Wizard
The
of
Peanut.
Wizard of
was
Oz
cool.
was pretty ingenious. I'll give her credit for that. That one.
Mr.
Worked.
Tin Man.
It was
Tin
great.
Man.
Scarecrow.
It was great.
Cowardly Lion.
Dorothy.
Hi, Dorothy.
Yeah.
Wicked
Why?
Witch.
And the Wicked Witch.
And the
I
Wicked
know.
I
Witch.
would have been a flying monkey happily.
Yeah.
I mean, why wasn't the girl Dorothy?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Even the witch.
Yes.
She could have been the witch, you know. Or no.
I might even have.
You could have been
Not
Glinda.
for that.
No.
Yeah. It was.
I was pretty miserable.
Yeah, and,
I could've been the
and
wizard.
you know, I think it's time that we give the poor guy a break. You know, on this thing. He didn't have any choice in the matter.
No.
None of us did.
No, none of us did.
No,
None of
wait.
us did with any of that stuff.
He got the Cowardly Lion, and that was
Did,
cool.
Mr.
but she
Peanut.
make
You were
Mr.
Mr.
Peanut.
Peanut.
I
yeah,
That
she
was
made
cool.
all of these
That was
costumes
hard
from
as heck to walk around. I couldn't sit down. I had to go to school with Mr. Peanut, you know. Couldn't sit down.
And I tell you, straw itches. It's up the arms, it's in the chest. It's like, this itches.
Pardon me over here. Pardon me. I'm trying to remember. They made like cardboard tubes for my arms
Yeah.
to fit over my arms.
And I
Painted
remember
Paying
a,
me silver.
Painted in silver.
funnel.
The
Yeah,
funnel
and
for
a
the-
funnel for the.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he had. Was a
Wrapped it
funnel.
in aluminum foil.
Craziness.
don't know
And then
what
sent us off into the neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the little Vorbach boys. No, jeez, thank you.
Oh.
Trick or treat. But she must have had fun with it because
She made them all.
She
I mean,
made 'em.
Hey,
a lot of
Great
dedication
pride
for
of-
that.
Pride of
Speaking of.
Yeah.
she did a lot of good things, but we occasionally got her to her limit.
Oh, you did. Yes.
Something to do with cereal, as I recall.
See, well, she just
It
wasn't.
wasn't just me. And
She wasn't
Betty.
good with, the gluten. Yeah.
So there
I
used to
didn't
be
do
a
this.
Cereal
No.
called
That was me.
Frankenberries.
That was, she came back from grocery shopping and we were sitting at the table.
And
I
they would
recall.
have toys in the,
That's yeah.
in the
It
cereal
became
box.
a-
You two
I want
fighting.
it. I
over
want it. I want it. I talking back and
Yeah.
forth and
Why we're
Yeah.
wrestling over this toy, but then she had
She
had
had
enough,
she.
and
Anyways,
she opened the box and dumped it on our heads.
and said there will never be Frankenberries in this house again.
And
And
it
then
got
everyone-
very,
And then she
it got
went off to
very
her
quiet after that.
Because this was not behavior that we
We were
could
expecting-
understand.
never
It
saw this
never
before.
happened before, so we're like, something's different.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What could it be?
Ooh.
And I went.
You
to go-
guys are in
I was
trouble.
gonna go help clean it up,
See, yeah, she wouldn't
and she
let you
said,
touch it.
"Don't you
Don't
dare
you
touch
dare
it.
touch that. They're gonna clean
They're
that
gonna
up.
take care of this."
And we
I
did.
said, okay. Mr. El Kabong,
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. I played El Kabong on Greg's head.
and I don't know if
I
you
don't
remember
remember
El
what-
Kabong.
None of these people
No,
here
no,
would.
they wouldn't. It was a
It was a
cartoon.
cartoon character.
It was a
And
horse that
was Quick Draw McGraw,
Quick Draw
and,
McGraw.
and El Cabong was his alter ego.
Alter ego, yes.
Yes.
Who had a Spanish, an acoustic guitar
You know,
that would hit the bad guy
Zorro.
over the head with a
the
guitar
guitar.
and
El
yell
Cabong.
El Cabong. That was his thing.
Well.
So of course he had the guitar and was inspired.
We were down in the basement
It
of
was
Crafton Boulevard.
Crafton Boulevard, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
In the
Yeah.
basement, and
Some little plastic guitar.
there's
Yeah,
a
there's
plastic
Quick Draw
little
McGraw.
You
And
smacked me over the head with it.
Yep.
yeah,
Oh, come on.
and
Broke the guitar.
broke the guitar.
It worked.
Different
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, we
How about the weird night
Oh,
where the mirror
yes.
in Mother's
yeah,
room
we're flipped over. I don't understand how they
thus-
did it, but
to this day I don't know how that happened.
her mirror. She had a big mirror that went
Big
with her.
Mirror. Like
Plate
Bedroom
mirror
suite.
in a wooden frame.
Bedrooms.
Yeah, part of her
Heavy.
bedroom suite, and
Heavy.
it fell off the wall, and in some way it flipped over the top of the dresser and impaled itself on the
On the footboard of
Footboard
her
of her
bed.
bed,
Well,
yeah.
she's in bed.
But it missed everything on her
And
dress.
nothing on top
See,
of the
they had
dresser
like
got
perfume
touched.
bottles.
Remember the bird, the green
Yeah.
bird with
Yeah,
that long
crystal
tail?
things on.
Somehow
It missed all that.
but it flipped itself over and
Her
impaled.
window
impaled
was
itself.
open, and we all, of course, heard it. Woke up in the middle of the night
Running.
and went running in. She said, "Don't come in,
Because of
because
glass.
there's glass everywhere from the mirror."
But we couldn't figure out how the heck it did it. So,
To this
we
day, I
cleaned
don't
that
know
up.
how that happened.
Yeah.
How it was.
Ooh.
Yeah, as we said, there's a ghost here.
Yeah, could
Yeah.
be. I remember the Crafton Boulevard, the front door. Remember when the wind would blow in a certain way, the
Would
door
howl.
would resonate, and
Okay,
it would
yeah.
start. It would start kind of. It would get really. Oh, it scared the crap out of you. Oh yeah, no, I don't like that. What is that? What's that?
And remember,
I
our
don't
bedroom,
remember that.
the
You don't remember
door
that?
into
That- it was a great
parents'
noise.
bedroom, and then our bedroom's right beside it.
So you'd hear this.
So you'd hear this. It's like
And it would
there's
come.
no door between there. It was just a passageway.
It would come and go, So as the wind would blow harder, the noise would get louder, and then it would fade, and then the wind would blow again, and it would come back, and oh man, I'm just gonna put my finger covers over my head. We'll wait it out. Hopefully it doesn't get me, whatever that thing is.
You remember Mom's Capri?
The
Oh,
Mercury
yes.
Capri, yeah.
Yeah, learn
Yeah.
how to drive stick.
Learn how to drive a stick.
Yeah, but then it got to the point where every 15 miles we had to get out and
Put oil in it.
can of oil.
Yeah.
Had a little bit of a leak.
It started smoking and
Yeah.
whatever, get out.
Well,
Fuck up.
that car I had out one night with my friends. And
Yes, you did.
we hit an ice patch down
Mm.
by what was the place down there, the Pittsburgh Motel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I hit the patch of ice and I went into the other
In back,
oncoming lane and I counter steered and went into the other lane and finally hit into the snowbank, spun
Yeah.
out and stopped, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, here, my other friends all hit that same patch of ice. Some of them didn't make it.
Yeah.
One of them wound up in a snowbank up by, like way up by on a telephone pole.
Mm.
That car didn't make it out of there. Phil Brandy's car got T-boned.
Ooh.
And
I don't remember that.
Oh yeah, it was not a good night.
Ooh.
But that's the same place where I think it was Joey Cron.
Joey Cron's died.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it was by the
was-
Thornburg Bridge. There.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't know
it
that's
was-
where it was.
Yeah.
It was a chronic problem with water coming across the road from a
And
spring
freezing up.
and freezing up on certain nights,
Yeah.
on certain
And it was
evenings.
winter when he hit that.
Yeah.
Or he was riding in the car. He
He
wasn't
wasn't
driving.
driving.
He was in the
driving,
back
he was
seat.
in the back, yeah.
Oh.
Back
Well,
seat, yeah, he got
Yeah.
pinned in or
Finally
something.
fixed it, is it?
No, they didn't fix it
No.
until after I had my issue.
Oh.
That was years later. So,
Wow.
no,
But-
it was
But yeah, so
it was a good, it was a fun car to drive.
Yeah.
It
till-
was good to learn how to drive a stick.
It was a nice little car,
Yeah.
but you know, it just ultimately
But I
was.
hated when Mom drove it because
Oh,
we're on a hill like in Castle Shannon or something.
yeah.
And that
it
sucker
was
would
just-
drift
way
back, and I'm
yeah.
like,
By the time
I had my eyes closed. Let's put it that way.
Well, you know, now people don't have any appreciation for having somebody having a manual transmission. So everybody like pulls right up to the back
The back,
bumper of
yeah.
everybody. One of the things that when I had my my 370Z,
Yeah.
I was in the North Hills and I'm coming up one of those hills and it's rush hour and there's, you know, I'm just like, oh man, this
Right,
is, you know, I got to take off and I can see there's guys not very far back there, so I'm doing the
The parking
I mean, I nailed it. And,
Was that the Fiat?
no,
No,
I had
no,
I had a black 370Z
I never remember.
a couple of years ago. Yeah, I got rid of it before I got my truck.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I do remember.
I liked the
do
car
remember.
a lot. The
Yeah.
car was fun. But
well, you had the Fiat.
But the
the
Fiat.
Fiat X19, that was
Remember
funny.
What, but
Yeah.
you remember what happened? With
Yes, I do. Mom took you
Used
to
it.
work.
Yeah.
You said, "Can I use your car?" Yeah. 'Cause I had my room down in the basement at the time.
Yeah.
And when she came back, she pulled it in front of the house, and the house is on a hill. She didn't quite set the parking brake in it.
And I was sick. I was laying on the couch. I had a fever,
Yeah.
and she was in making Sunday morning breakfast. Which
Yes.
was her ritual, our ritual. And I'm like, Mom, the car's rolling down the hill, and she's like, No. She yelled, you know what you got a
Yeah.
fever. I'm like, it's rolling down hill. And she came out and she was like,
yeah, it was pretty funny.
Not for you.
Not for you at the time.
You know, the thing is, it went across the street and it wedged itself under a fence.
Yeah, under
The
greenways.
there was
The
the
gate.
gate
Yeah,
and, and wedged itself under there and kind of messed it up.
Gave it some body damage.
Oh.
But that was it.
She was so.
She was so upset because she knew I like my little car.
Cars.
You
And
and I would
then,
take that thing up to Bon Air.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
place it off.
and then there was Jeffrey's car.
yeah.
Unfortunately, the
Yeah, the
Mustang.
Mustang got stolen.
The-
stolen from. I just cleaned it.
Yeah. Well,
Just changed the oil in it. Cleaned it.
That was your baby, I remember.
yes, it
Brought
was
it back from.
from Chicago.
Chicago.
Drove it back from Chicago.
And I said,
Remember what you drove back from Chicago with one time, or was that you?
That was me.
That was you.
No,
Well,
I-
we'll finish the Mustang story first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I looked out the window and car was gone.
Yeah.
And
was-
I
it
pulled
was right
in.
there.
The car's gone.
You pulled in where I was parked.
where you were parked.
Ah.
It's like, Jeff, where's your car?
I said, it's right.
There.
Used to be.
So we
It
ended
was
up
right
calling
there.
the police, and then we found it down on that off near Thornburg Bridge, down
Down, yeah.
the road that went nowhere, that
Yes.
strip that they made, and
Yeah.
they went running down there, and then they pulled off and went up, tried to pull it up
Tried to go
behind
up a
some
hill.
apartments, and got it stuck on a fence
You know,
behind the fender, and then
and then
they
they
popped
stripped
the
it.
hood and stripped it.
They
Yeah.
burn it.
No,
No, they
just
didn't burn
stripped
it, but we had to get the tow truck,
truck
and they
to pull it
dragged it
out.
up the hill,
Yeah.
and it was
It was done.
done.
Yeah, it was done.
Yeah, that was the end of it.
Um,
But this young man,
Yeah, I came back from
Fell on
Chicago with. I had gone earlier in the day to downtown Chicago to pick up.
you were
a
working
load
with
of
Uncle
Ken's
Uncle
bag.
Ken's bank.
And I went to pick up, what was it, like $2,000 worth of quarters,
Mm.
right?
Of course.
So in each bag contained $250 worth. So I came back to Naperville, dropped off the quarters, loaded, they opened up the vault and we did the whole thing, carried them in, they checked them all in. And then I left for Pittsburgh and I got back to Pittsburgh.
Opened
And
the trunk.
no, it slid out from under the seat. One of the bags had slid under the seat.
Oh, I don't recall this.
Yeah.
Came out, and I was like, "Oh, jeez, I gotta call Ken."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did. I called him and I said, "I'm really sorry." I came home and there was a bag of quarters still under the seat. And he said, well, thanks for calling, but, and we'll talk about that when you get back. But it's funny that you have a bag of quarters with you because the girl's all balanced.
Oh.
So somebody fudged their numbers and
To say that it was
accounted
there.
for $250 worth of quarters that weren't there. And so I think somebody might have lost their job over that one.
Yeah. Ooh.
See,
But-
your evil plan worked.
It wasn't an evil plan, it was just an unfortunate
It was,
mistake.
yeah.
But I was like, video games.
Well, who were you
um,
with when you were coming home that time and they robbed a jewelry store out in
Oh, you wouldn't know the fellow I was with. It was just a,
Robinson?
You were working out there.
I was working out
Working
there.
construction.
That was a Halloween story. So it was Halloween Day.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
like a Friday. And
Yeah.
We were
Lunchtime, I think.
not doing much in terms of work. We were just kind of, because we had most of the apartments were done. We were on the third floor. There was one room that was just carpeted,
Mm.
and we were going to have a Halloween party in there. So we left from there, from the job site, me and this other guy went to go buy a case of beer, right?
And
and pumpkins.
Right,
And
gotta have pumpkin.
You gotta have pumpkins for your pumpkin party or for your Halloween party. So we went and stopped in the beer distributor. On the way past, there was a jewelry store and there were a bunch of cops there. We're like, oh, geez, somebody must have robbed the jewelry store. Well, that's news. Great. We went into and went on our way. We picked up the case of beer, came back out, went down the road some more to go buy the pumpkin. And as we're going down the road, all of a sudden the cops come up from behind us. One comes around the car and cuts us off. Another one comes up and from behind, and the guys get out with shotguns, pointing right at us. Pointing right at me in particular because they came around to the passenger side. And meanwhile, I'm 19 years old and I've got a beer in my hand, right? Beer on the ground. Get out of the car. And the guy's pointing the gun at me and he says, you know why we pulled you over? I'm like, anything to do with the robbery that went on back there? And he's like, yeah, what do you know about it?
What are you guys doing?
uh,
Getting them.
Yeah, he says, what are you guys doing? We're getting a pumpkin. All right, so we've got the hands on the back of the car, The guy says, pop the trunk. The other guy pops the trunk. It's nothing but beer cans, empty beer cans back there. I'm like, oh my God, we were so dead. But they let us go. Of course, we
They're
weren't.
looking for
We
a
weren't
robber.
the guys they were looking
Yeah.
for. Obviously, it wasn't who they were looking for. But I went to another Halloween party later that night. My friend, who was at Penn State at the time, calls my house. My mom answers the phone, tells him this story. He calls the party I'm at and says, this is such and such from the Thornburg police. I need to speak to Greg Vorbach.
Just a mess with it.
And I'm like, turn the stereo down. It's the police. They need to talk to me. And he tells me to come to next. We pulled you over. You had an open beer in the car today. We need to have you come into our office at 515 Penn Towers, State College, PA. 515 Penn Towers, State College. Oh, Ed Koshin, you asshole.
It was Ed.
Yeah. So my mom got me good.
Yes, she did.
She got me real good.
Yep.
Yeah, I got nearly
can't-
arrested for armed robbery.
You jewel thief. You're the Pink Panther.
Yeah, exactly.
Then there's the time that you were out of the country and traversing through the woods of Switzerland.
Or Austria.
Yeah,
Or
no,
Austria.
It was
No,
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
We came out of Austria into Switzerland, and we were looking. There was a castle up on the hill, right? and we wanted to go see the castle. It was like old ruins. So we drove up this road. Right, okay, make a left here, go up there. We came up and crested the top of this hill, and there were Swiss Army guys.
I never
Turn
heard this one.
And we turned around and went back down
Say
there.
goodbye.
They came out
Well-
like a firing range or something. It's just like-
Yeah. No, they were just there, and they pulled their arms and
I don't remember
sent us
that.
packing.
Oh, I do. I mean, I remember you going on that trip, but I don't remember that story.
But speaking of the Capri,
Yeah.
I remember one night taking that car from our place on Dickens Street just out to the Obie house to pick up a 6-pack of beer for us all.
Yeah.
Right? I got out there, I went to put it in reverse, pulled it over, and the stick shift broke off in my I was like,
Now
are
what?
you kidding me? Because I had had other car problems before
Yeah.
that, and it was just the end for me.
Bad enough.
So we walked back home, and then we had to come get you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
and
We
we got it
out of
into
there.
gear somehow. We put
use
a
a pair of
pair
vice
of
grips or something.
vice grips
Vice
on
grip.
it.
Yeah, we were shifting with
Got
I
it
do
into
remember
gear and limped it back home till we could
Well, the
fix it.
Capri was also the one where the catalytic converter
Fried.
fried. Remember, you had the floor would get
Yeah.
so hot,
Yeah.
and you had to take the carpet out and you welded a new.
Piece
Because there
of
was a hole
metal.
underneath.
Yeah.
There was a hole. You could see the road.
Yeah.
I'm
That
surprised
was
the car didn't
nasty. I'm
catch
like,
on fire.
Mom, it's
Yeah.
getting hot.
Yeah. Yeah. It was different.
We're on fire.
Poor lady. But yeah, it was good times. So anyway, sort of to wrap it up here, because I think we're running out of celluloid here for the video, and it's been a long time.
Yeah. It kinda-
I mean, that don't mean we can't still keep talking, but
Yeah.
we could still certainly stop recording.
Do it again next
That
time. Add some
is
more.
a high level synopsis of what we were like growing up, what our world was like growing up,
Oh, yeah.
which
See,
is
I was
why
the angel.
Explain
you were, well,
why we are.
explains
the way we
you know,
are.
a lot
Hardly.
about the dynamic that
The
goes on
dynamic.
amongst this crew.
And even just, Mom and
Oh,
the
yeah.
things that, number one, she had to put up with us, but number two, the responsibilities that we ended up
Yeah.
having to
At an early age.
at an early age.
Yeah, absorb and deal with, and just learning the value of family and the how to be reliant on one another, but also still forge your own destiny. And I think at the end of the day, I think she would be proud of how everybody. I know she was, before she passed, that she was very proud of her family and how everybody had turned out and what we've all gone on to become one way or the other. For the most part, we just basically try to be good people.
Yeah.
Fair, honest, and fun, and that's it. And enjoying each other's. Yeah, don't take ourselves seriously, and don't try to hurt one another. And look out for one another, and that's really what it ends up all being. And it much was as a side result of just having grown up in that environment where we learned to survive in a close group setting and all that. And I can't say that that's a bad thing.
No.
So.
For sure.
So thank you, Justin, for having brought your camera and giving us the opportunity to reminisce a bit
To share.
and share and talk about some old memories that we do have.
Some of it was entertaining.
Some of it will be.
Yes.
There is more, I'm sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I want to hear anything that floats race.
Oh, yeah.
There were
God.
several things later on. You have to.
Yeah,
Well,
I
mean,
forgot
just
about
the
that.
your band thing.
And
Well, we did band things in the basement. Poor Mom put up with that for so darn long. Band rehearsals and that.
She loved that though. Really.
Well, she also knew where we were, and knew we weren't getting into trouble, doing things.
I see.
And then there were certain characters that came into our life, like Kirk Foster.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
who's still, you know,
Yeah.
I still
Reach out to him.
occasionally will you know converse or communicate.
He was sort of a brother from another mother.
He was, because he spent as much time in our house with us. You know, we always said that mom was the universal mother because she was mom to everyone. And you know, we, you know, she welcomed our friends into the fold, and
Yeah, so there's a lot more stuff
yeah,
to go with,
Where to go?
but
Round
far too much for one evening.
yeah.
Round one.
But it was good stuff. Thanks,
All right,
JT.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Awesome.